Good evening, folks. This is vk3sl. Welcome to our late evening test missions on 160 and on UHF. And made it back. It's been a very eventful few days. Been out and about.
Tell us about it.
Hello there, Frank. How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, well, thank you, Stephen. Very well. Yeah.
Okay, great to hear.
Had you had a good trip?
Oh, we did. We only got back late this afternoon, very late this afternoon. And yes, it was quite an adventure, to be honest. It was very cold. It was -4 on the mountain.
I was snuggled up in bed with an electric blanket on 3.
Yes.
My thoughts fluty.
Oh, thank you. Maybe that saved the day in the end. It was, no, to be honest, it was quite I won't say an ordeal, but it was one of the harder walks that I've done in quite a while.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a good thing to do. I needed something that was raw and connecting and...
Very Spartan.
Yeah. And so, yes, Olivia and I and our friend Rodney, we climbed up the, just up to Mount Erica. And... but it was horizontal hail when we started walking, and it was below zero. And we rugged up, and we had over trousers and coats on, and pack covers and everything, and we just slowly worked our way up the hill, and it was very slow going because there was so much snow and sludge, and we made it at nightfall. It's like an exercise in meditation because you can't think too much when the conditions are like that.
You just plough ahead.
Yes, and
Did you ever think of turning back?
Well, we didn't because we were determined, and we had the gear, and we'd planned for it, and we knew it was going to be rough weather. And
turning back was never an option.
Not an option because we wanted to make this work. And so you get into a sort of a headspace that allows you to persevere. And
very satisfying when you get there.
It is. And we got up to the top eventually by nightfall, and eventually found the spot where we could camp. Well, there's no easy spot to camp because everything's under snow. It's under half a metre of snow. But we knew that the spot we had to get to was a place called Talbot Hut site. Now, Talbot Hut's an interesting one. It used to be a part of there's a trail that used to go from Walhalla to Warburton, and it was called the Yarra Track. And in the early days, in the Edwardian era, and it was a scenic track that hikers used to go on. And they had a number of huts along the way, and they were substantial huts, and they had bunk beds and facilities of very basic facilities, and. And all the huts were burnt in the 1939 fires, but the chimneys remain. So there's a large chimney there in the middle of the bush, and in these sort of remote spots. And this was Talbot Hut site. So we knew we needed to get there because there's flat areas around the hut, and I know the site quite well, and also there's good water nearby. So, that was fine. Hi, Olivia's just coming. Do you want to come and join the conversation? No, she's too tired.
Say hello to Olivia.
Yeah, she's here. I just want to quickly check in with Liv. Is there everything all right? Yeah. All right. Oh, she's wanting Liv to work. I can take you to work early. I won't do a late missions tonight. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Olivia's tired. I'm just describing the walk, Liv.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. She's too tired to talk. Yeah. That's fine. No worries. I'll get up early. Yeah. All right. So here we go. It's going to be it won't be a late show tonight.
That'll suit me very well.
Yeah. So anyhow.
At the end of the Christmas run, almost.
Yeah. It is. But look, to finish the story, the Yarra Trail. It's an interesting trail. It's full of history, and it's a very beautiful ridge along the top of the Borbor Plateau, and you follow that right through, and then you can go. Mount Borbor exists as like an Ayers Rock in the sort of south of the main range, so it has its own climate. And this track sort of meanders along through there, and the track remains, although the vegetation's changed and grown a lot over the years. And we've been up there many, many times. It's quite close to Melbourne. It's only about 2.5, 3 hours drive from Melbourne, whereas the other high plains are much further. Last time I did the walk was with Mr. Stew, and he had some fantastic photos that his dad took on the walk in the 20s.
Oh, wow.
And they're amazing pictures. In fact, there's a photo of Talbot Hut as it was. It's really interesting. And there are a number of features along the way. There's a big rock feature called Mushroom Rocks, which is quite dramatic. These huge boulders suspended on the side of a hill, and they're quite striking. And then when you get to the top, there's this avenue of snow gums, which just it prevails right along the Borwell Plateau, which is about a 20-kilometre plateau at the top. So once we got up to the top, we did set up camp. We were very tired, and we managed to sort of snuggle down and get everything. Nothing was too wet; it was okay. And then the next morning,
were you actually in one of the huts? Or?
Oh no, the huts don't exist. There's no huts up there at all. There's no infrastructure at all.
I see.
Now the huts are long gone. They were burnt in the 1939 fires.
Just the chimneys.
Just the chimneys there, but we know that site because it's close to water, and
Sure.
it's it's.
Can't you just eat the snow?
You can, but it's better to have flowing water.
Sure.
It's just a good measure to do that. You can, in an emergency, have the snow. But anyhow, so we were able to camp there. That was okay. It was extremely cold, and the weather was snowing, and it was strafing with horizontal hail.
Oh my
It
God.
was like blizzard conditions. It was
It's just the way I imagined it.
yeah, it was absolutely full-on weather. And luckily we have good tents. And we just used it. We wore everything we had. We had it wrapped up in an extra sleeping bag, and we had, and even then we were still really cold. But look, it was okay. We got through, and body warmth helps. So Olivia and I just sort of huddled up, and next morning we left and we walked the full length of the top, and then came down. After a full day's walk, it was about 15 k's walk, so along the top. But it's very, very slow going because you're walking through snow, and every foot you sink in about a foot.
Oh my God!
It's really slow. It's like walking through sand.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and for 15 k's, it was absolutely exhausting.
Stephen, how did you do it?
Well, we did. It's not impossible, but it's just I have to say it was a test. And we came down the mountain, and it was then we camped in Walhalla, which was much lower, and it was much more comfortable, and we just had a relax there, and then came back this afternoon. So it was a bit of an adventure. It's nothing by the some people do crazy things, but this was something that for us. It was for Olivia, really wanted a snow experience, and she was very determined. And
first.
Yeah, well, I think she's been to the snow, but she has not in recent years. And she just wanted to do something that was a bit physically challenging and a little bit remote.
Certainly satisfied that need.
Yeah, I think so. I think she felt really fulfilled by it because she's had this crazy year, as you know.
Yeah, sure she has.
With everything. So I was up for the challenge, and our friends, he's done extraordinary wilderness walks in the past, and he was great to have with us.
It's a great asset to have someone like that.
Oh, yeah, he's done. He's walked in Antarctica and the Arctic Circle and done amazing things. So yes, it was good to have just somebody else with us, and if you're equipped and you just pace yourself and know what the boundaries are, it's okay. But I've never felt so physically tired.
Yeah, I can just. How would you not?
And you just walk really slowly, and it took us about to walk 15 k's. It probably took us close to 10 hours. Yeah, it was really slow.
I mean, and
slow.
strenuous because you're having to a big battle to get your feet out of it.
Yeah, every footstep you got to lift and drop, and you're sloshing, and there's mud and there's snow and lots of snow. So look, it was very beautiful though. The plateau is just absolutely exquisite, and it's got that silence that you get in the snow where everything stops, and
I've experienced that.
It's real stillness, and it's incredible.
I've been up to the snow 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
Spent a night.
Yes.
With skis on.
Okay.
I had a bit of a go.
Oh, fantastic.
I had. I'll tell you sometime about some of those experiences.
I'd love to hear about that. That's great.
We were coming back from to the place we were staying from, having been out, and the snow flurry started. And for a little while we were lost.
Oh gosh. Okay.
It was a bit scary.
Yes. Well, that's right. You can lose your horizon point.
Yeah. Well, this was the dead of night.
Oh gosh. Okay. That would have been a challenge.
We'd had a few glue vines.
Yeah. Right. Well, that sounds incredible.
It all turned out well.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean by the silence. It is the snow absorbs any sound.
It does. It does. It's eerie. It's an eerie silence, and you don't hear any bird life. And mind you, most of the time it was raining or hailing. Lots of
hail. It's so cold.
It is so cold, and it's like horizontal hail. It comes in on the angle, and it stings
drives
you.
Itself into you.
Yeah, it does. It stings you, and it's really forceful, and it's like being sandblasted. And that was really, really rough weather. So that sort of mitigated against the silence. But there were times when that stopped, and you just stood still, and it's just this. It was incredible. I love it.
Did you have communication with the outside world always?
Look, there are a few places. I mean, as the crow flies, we're not that many kilometres away from Mount Baw village. I mean, it would still take a day or quite a few hours to get there.
Yeah.
But as the crow flies, we're quite close. So there's communication facilities there. So there are a number of places where there is phone contact. So that was good. Not everywhere, but in as you get closer to the middle part of the plateau, there is phone contact. So that's good to know. But
give me some sense of I don't know, just to sort of underpin the fact that you're not in super danger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and look, there was not another person anywhere. We didn't see a single soul the whole time. No one else will still wonder why. Yes. So it was a bit of a crazy thing. I don't think we'd probably do it that way again. I think it really pushed us all. Look, usually I've done that walk many times before, and it's usually an easy walk. It's just the fact that you're walking through slushy snow, and it's that strain on your upper thighs, pulling your feet out, and wet feet and freezing toes.
My
all
God.
day. You don't even feel your toes; they just go completely numb.
It's great feat to do it.
Anyhow, it was something to do. It was a little bit of an adventure, and when you come home, you sort of forget about the bad things, and it starts to become a bit of a
something really good to look back on.
But it is. We're just looking at all the pictures tonight, and it was beautiful up there. It's a magical place, and to be honest, look, there's a lot of the snow gum forests, those high alpine, just below. These forests exist just below the snow lines. I mean, just below the tree line.
Yes,
so above that, there are just alpine meadows, and there's quite a few meadows. But because of the way the altitude, it was mostly snow gum forest, and they are absolutely exquisite forests. There's beautiful colours in the trunks, and it's such magnificent country. And in the main high plains, a lot of those snow gums have been burnt because they've had hot fires go through, and they've done unbelievable damage to the alpine flora. And
so it'll regenerate?
Yeah, look, they do regenerate, but they take hundreds of years to grow. They do regenerate, but they regenerate from the rootstock. And so it takes a long time for them to grow. Another good thing we did today on the way home, Frank, was we went to a walk, which is also a part of the Baw Range, and it's a short walk, but it's called the Monarchs of the Forest, and there's a series of, it's along an old timber tramway, and you follow it a couple of kilometres along, and there's one stand of super tall mountain ash that weren't cut down in the early days, and these trees are all about 60, 70 metres tall, and the girth is so wide. They're enormous trees. Yeah. The girth would have to be meters wide, 10 meters wide. They're enormous trees, and I'd say there'd be 20 or 30 of them, and somehow they escaped the harvesting.
Yeah.
And they are there, and it's this one pod of remarkable trees, and it just makes you realise what Gippsland was all full of these trees once.
Good heavens.
And they are just extraordinary trees.
Maybe hundreds of years old.
Oh, they would, absolutely. One of them had collapsed, one of them had fallen, and they'd sawn through to make because it had fallen across the track, and it was the size of a house, and they'd sort of chopped it out and you could see, I'd say they'd be 400, 500 years old, these trees.
Yeah, that's just
you could see the growth rings. There's just multitudes of growth rings on them. So, staggering.
What about wildlife?
Very, very little wildlife at all anywhere. And in the snow, it was just, we saw some...
Too cold.
Yes, just too cold. We saw some dog prints at one point, but didn't see or hear anything really, except for a bit of bird life when you get down the hill a bit. But it's it's this part of the sort of eerie atmosphere because the wildlife are all sort of in recess, I suppose. Yeah, so...
you didn't find it that challenging, did you?
I do a bit. I feel...
I would. That's why I'm asking
you. I do. When you don't have the sounds of nature in the same way, if we don't get that same expression, it is challenging. Psychologically, it's a bit challenging, I think. You feel the remoteness of it.
Yeah.
And
the isolation.
Yes, the isolation. Although you're never in terrible danger. But
no, but it's just a question of atmosphere.
It is, definitely. That's right. So, so I'm sort of, still on that adrenaline.
Well done, anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
That was good fun. All right.
Olivia enjoyed it,
she loved it. She really relished in it. She wanted to do something that was physically demanding and mentally demanding, and she just wanted an offset to all of that crazy study. Yeah, and listen, it was her initiative, to do this. So, yeah.
It was wonderful.
It was really good. So, she certainly had that. I think it tested her to the hilt, but she was pretty resilient, and, we made it, so it was good. All right, well, so there's a few things happening, and I might give you a ring on tomorrow about some other plans for Sunday.
Looking forward. Is everything okay for that?
Yes, indeed, absolutely. It's all going. So there's a bit of a social gathering on Sunday, which will probably take up most of the day, and I've got another one after that. So there won't be any missions on Sunday, but Saturday we should be right tomorrow, I think. I don't think there's anything else on tomorrow. So
yeah, I'm here tomorrow.
Okay, so I might play a few jazz records tomorrow. I noticed there's one record's popped up on the tube, which I'd like to sample. It's called The Red Robins. Apparently they're a Belgian syncopated dance group from the late 20s. And they went to London and made a couple of records. And it says here in the blurb that the trumpet player plays in a Bixian style, so I thought it'd be interesting to hear a bit of European Bix influence. And with this group, it's on an Edison Bell radio disc, and it's been put up online by Nick Dello. A bit of a rarity, but I thought it might be a nice way to start off. So we'll hear a tune called Pork and Beans is the name of the song, back in 1929. interesting record. That was a track called Pork and Beans.
I really like that.
Boil and Stomp, says here. And yeah, I did too. It was fascinating how they absorbed the influence of American music of that time. And they were rolling along, weren't they?
They sure were. It sounded very natural to them.
It did indeed. And a great arrangement, full of intrigue. And all.
You got any more?
They only made the 1 or 2 records, I think. Well, there's reference to them here. I'll have to investigate and see if we can find something else. It says, what does it say? The Red Robins, a Belgian band, play Pork and Beans, that's what we've just heard, composed by David B., who often wrote hot tunes with Peter Paquet, leader of the Red Robins. Their most famous composition is High Tension, recorded by Lewis Russell in 1930. It's an American band. It's interesting that there was a
crossover.
Yeah, there, indeed. This side was recorded in London in the summer of 1929, and because there were no professional recording studios in Belgium at that time. Yeah, so this goes on to describe the list. I don't know if they made many other records, but I will investigate because I'm intrigued. It was good to hear.
Yeah.
Yay, good one. All right, well, what we might do is I've just taken a random handful off the shelf, and amongst them is The Dance of the Goblins by Bazzini. It's a sort of a
vk3sl in contact with vk3sl.
Yeah.
Test transmission.
Indeed. Test missions on 160 and on UHF, and also streaming online on YouTube, in fact, under my call sign vk3sl. Just look it up. And also there is a secondary service which probably will be working, a broadwave service which can be found by via the Blogspot page. That's again my call sign vk3sl.blogspot.com.
VK3JR being on 145.04 FM.
Indeed. So we'll have a listen to Dance of the Goblins. Now, this has got a story, a bit of a backstory, which is talking about sort of cold toes and fingers. The accompanist on this, Andre Benoit, was the pianist on this record, and the record features Jascha Heifetz. It's his premiere recording, made in 1917. And Heifetz went to the New York studios to record this, and Benoit recalls the story. He says that they arrived at the studio and Heifetz didn't want any rehearsal. He was ready to record on the spot, and he didn't even warm up. And he said apparently it was a bitterly cold morning and the studio was freezing cold and there was snow everywhere outside.
Oh my God.
And he just walked straight in, and they just did this take without any rehearsal, apparently.
One take.
Yeah, apparently that's the story here. And to hear how he's, with this flying spiccato and this level of virtuosity, it's almost impossible to believe that. Even if it's a bit apocryphal, I think it's testimony to what an extraordinary artist Heifetz was. So here's a 17-year-old Jascha Heifetz recorded in 1917, Dance of the Goblins. Well, there we have it.
Incredible.
Extraordinary Jascha Heifetz. Young Jascha Heifetz. He well and truly completed his 10,000 hours of formative practice. He is in top four. Now, when it's got that da, 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 now, when he does those four notes, da, 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 he does it on each string. I know this piece. And that means that pitch is matched on each string, starting on the E to the A, then to the D, and then to the G.
I hadn't realised that.
And it's extraordinary because you have to do a quick movement with your left hand to find that pitch. And it's always fascinating to watch violinists play this because that is almost impossible to play, to get them sounding even. And he does. It sounds perfect.
Well,
it sounds like it's the same note.
I didn't even realise what's involved.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. So,
now, speaking of Heifetz, I heard a recording on a program that I listened to on MBS on weekdays.
Sure.
By a fellow called Bill McLaughlin.
Oh, yes.
It's a very good program, actually.
Okay, great.
He picks themes. And
yes.
Anyway, one of the things he played was I think he was Romanian. Mm-hmm. You'll know him.
Yes.
He played a piece that he composed, well-known piece called the Hora Staccato.
Oh, the Hora Staccato by Dinicu. Yeah.
So Dinicu, that's the boy.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was remarkable. And Bill said at the end of it that Heifetz was on record as having said that Dinicu was the best violinist he'd ever heard.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I think Dinicu had an incredible colours in his sound. In fact, there's a recording. I know there's a recording of Dinicu, Hora Staccato. If I can find the recording of him playing it himself.
Yes, that was what I heard.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's the Heifetz version, which is just amazing, but there is a recording of Grigoras Dinicu himself, and that is staggering.
That's what Bill played.
Oh, so he didn't play the Heifetz one, or did he play?
No, he played the Dinicu one.
Oh wow. How interesting, because I can play them back to back.
Oh, please.
Yeah, we can listen to this.
It's derailed things, though.
No, not at all. There's no rail here. I just picked out a batch of records. I haven't even planned for this. No, I'd like to pick up on themes that sort of emerge. Let's do this. We'll have a listen to Dinicu himself, wonderful Romanian gypsy player. We just had incredible colours. Yeah, and very measured. So, because Romania, this type of music was made for dancing.
Hora is a dance,
It is indeed. So we'll hear Dinicu play this. I think it's recorded in the 30s, and I'll dredge up the Heifetz one's more sort of spectacular and edgy, and it's got a different character, and it's got the Heifetz's stamps of flair. But we'll play them back to back, starting with Dinicu and then Jascha Heifetz himself, the Hora Staccato. Okay, we're just queuing up the Heifetz version now. Sorry about that little break in the middle there. That was
very good.
A bit of a miscue. This is with the Bell Telephone Orchestra with Donald Voorhees back in 1949, it says here. This is from a TV special. Mr. Heifetz there, and that was from a TV special. It didn't really capture the full tonal luster there.
The balance wasn't quite right.
No, the balance wasn't good. It was just a TV recording. I actually played the wrong file. There's another one there, which is probably a little bit softer on the ear. But yes, it brought out the more acerbic elements of his tone.
Yeah, it had an edge, didn't it?
It certainly did. But Heifetz did always have an edge, and he liked to be close-mic'd, and he liked to have that brittle, acerbic, tight sound with lots of
one way
grit.
to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, what cuts through, you see.
It sure does.
Yeah, but I have to say, the Diniku version I just love because of it's got that wonderful propulsive element. I love the way he pushes the music along. It's a Romanian thing, I think.
I thought it sounded more gypsy-like.
Yes, definitely, no doubt about that. I think the gypsy flavour prevails, and Diniku's playing is just so characterful and full of spirit and comes from the earth. It's that, he inhabits that space. Look, I wonder if there's other recordings of Diniku we can sample. Diniku. There are. I know I've got some of his 78s here too. Diniku, but I do not know where they are.
No.
Diniku, violin, and we drum roll and wait. Now, does it give us? Yes, there's quite a few here, and I know we have done programs on him before, but I'd like to. I always love to have an excuse to play this music.
Yes, I remember now. I've forgotten his name.
Oh, look, it's. I could just hear it over and over. It's magic, and it makes me want to go back to Romania. In fact, I spent a lot of time walking in the mountains in Romania, so it sort of brings that to the fore. Yeah. So anyhow, let's have a listen to Romanta Ziganetsti by. Played from a recording from 1928 with Diniku playing the violin. Here we go. have it. That was Ramata Zaganetti, and arranged by Dinoku and performed by him in 1928. And it says on the label that it was played entirely on the G string of his instrument. Staggering. And just full of gypsy flavour. I love the portamenti and that sort of weighted expression. It's just magic stuff. So yeah, there we have it. That's I might play a few more Dinnicles. Just reading about him here. Yes, and you're right, Frank. That it says here, his bios here on the Big Wick, and it says that Jascha Heifetz once said that Gregorius Dinoku was the greatest violinist he had ever heard. So there we have it from Heifetz's own. Said by Heifetz himself. Okay, well, there's another track here called Chiocalia, which I think it means the chook. Yes, and I think this is...
I'm sorry, I had to leave the room for a minute.
That's fine, no worries. So yes, I just read on the bio that your comment about Heifetz saying Dinoku was the best violinist he'd heard is authenticated. So fascinating, isn't it?
There you are. Yep.
Yeah, but just look, such a natural technique. This is sort of homegrown technique. This is it comes from a different place. It comes from this almost a spiritual connection to the romantic, the folklore and music. It's extraordinary stuff. So there are numerous really wonderful examples of Dinoku's playing. He lived until 1949, and he made quite a few records in the 20s and 30s, and they are all just tantalizing. Have a listen to this one. Now, I think this was written by his grandfather. It's called the Chiocalia, which I think it means the cock or the rooster.
Yes.
But have a listen to this. It's amazing. As natural as breathing. It's just a completely forthright expression.
I've heard that before. I think it's reasonably popular.
Oh yeah, and this music is very much is still in the folklore and the the mindset of the Romanian people. It just astonishes me how closely they embrace their cultural heritage. And so actually we were talking about this on the walk for quite a while, how in Europe, so many countries, people, they really embrace their cultural heritage, and every young person knows all these songs, and they know the tradition, they know the forefathers and people who brought the music to fruition, so there's people like Dinicu and Enescu and the national poets, Eminescu, who was a poet. They're sort of still national heroes.
It's a great thing, isn't it?
It is. It's tremendous. You feel like you're being drawn into another world. I feel like this music just takes me to this other extraordinary place of possibilities and depth. And
the music lets you do it like no other art form, really.
I agree. I think so. And when you hear an ambassador like Dinicu playing this music, there's sort of all these really nuanced, intricate things about speech rhythm and syntax and their language and their, I don't know, just the whole sort of essence of communication which just comes through the music. And look, here's another example, and this one here I think is very closely connected to the Romanian speech rhythm, which is Romanian language is very close to Latin. In fact, I think it's the closest existing language to pure Latin that there is.
Right.
And it's very angular and has a certain sort of weighting of the syntax, and you can just hear this dotted rhythm in this piece here. This offset dotted rhythm is, I think, very close to the Romanian language. Again, we'll hear Dinicu, and it's a track called Ca pe Lunca, which means like on the meadow.
Right.
Yes, those inflections could never be taught, I don't think.
Oh, amazing. Do you know, love that flattened fifth, don't they?
I know they do. It just adds tension, doesn't it? And it's very much the idiosyncrasies about that playing, which I don't think anyone could ever impart. It just has to be felt and understood, and you have to speak the language and feel the raw emotion, the dialogue, and the cultural intricacies. This all comes out, and this
intense, isn't it?
It is. It's just I just find this sort of a invitation into another world. I love it. We can play another one because they're all good, and there's about a dozen recordings that Diniku made, and this one's I think from the late 30s. It's called a horror boyaresca, which
another horror,
another dance, and this one is, I think, boyaresca means noble or manorial or dance of the nobles, perhaps, or something. But again, very dignified, but also very just beautifully idiosyncratic. So here we have Mr. Diniku. Okay, there we have another horror by Mr. Diniku, Grigoras Diniku, a Romanian gypsy fiddle player who was just the great inspiration for so many players and part of a long-standing intergenerational tradition of violin players.
That was a quite different sounding rhythm to the horror staccato.
Yes, very different measure, didn't it? Yes.
So horror must be fairly flexible.
I think so. It just means dance.
It just means dance.
Yeah. So it's just a different meter.
Sure.
And what can I say about them? Oh, that's says Cool was the clock, not the chook, the clock. The piece we heard earlier. Now, what can I say? He was born in 1889. He died in 1949. And he was gypsy origin.
Right.
And it tells the Heifetz story. He was born in Bucharest, And he did actually receive a scholarship to the Vienna Conservatory, but was not allowed to go there because he was Romani. Oh my God.
Terrible.
An episode he never forgot. Okay, yeah. But he did actually study, though, with Carl Flesch.
Did he really?
Yes, for a bit. Yeah, so I think...
That's probably the leading teacher in Europe.
Yes, he was, yeah.
It's of course Alma Moody.
Yes, that's right. Indeed.
He said she was his favourite student.
Indeed. That's extraordinary, isn't it? Just makes me want to hear more and more what to hear about Alma Moody's records.
I know. Such a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't get on to that.
That's okay, but it says here that Stefan Grappelli was a great admirer of Dinoku and the way that the violin was played in the Lotharesca music.
Yeah, well, how would you not be, though?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then and that just refers to the recordings he made for Electrochord, the ones we've just been listening to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, that was great.
Sure,
and, so I'd like a little trip back to Romania.
Yes, that's right.
I have actually another 78 of another favourite violinist queued up, and I queued it up at the beginning of the program, so I might as well play it. It doesn't really relate to what we've been listening to, but it's a great record, and I haven't heard it for years, and I just like to immerse myself. And it's a recording of Misha Elman in the early 30s,
yes.
And he's playing the Smetna piece in my hometown, and or aus der Heimat, and it's a beautiful thing, and he just plays it with such beguiling style and gorgeous sound, and everything about Elman's playing I find just draws me in. So we have this one lined up. It's the two sides of a 10-inch record, so I'll have to do a flipper-matic in between, but it's well worth a listen. So I think we're queued, and we'll have a listen to Misha Elman. I'm vk3sl.
vk3jr.
the music of Schmittner, played by Misha Elman. And full of vigour and spirit, and that was Elman at his absolute prime there in the 1930s.
Great stuff.
It's wonderful. Oh, I like that piece. It sort of takes you on a journey. It sort of has that reflective early first section, then it springs out with the melody on side two, with that beautiful Czech melody. So, it's good music. Now, Frank, I was going to ask you, how was the Messiah? How was the performance the other day? You went to hear the Messiah live at the concert hall, I think, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Well, overall, we enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
It had a couple of, just hold on.
Yeah, sure.
Turn things down a bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Getting feedies.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now, the choir was spread across the whole stage.
Yes. Okay.
In their groups.
Yes.
Sopranos, etc.
Yes.
And it was lovely. It was like super stereo.
Okay, so there was a widespread across the. Yeah. Okay.
I was in the middle where I like to be.
Yeah.
5 rows back, which is also where I like to be.
Yes.
We get the tickets like a year ahead,
so you can get good seats. It makes sense. And so the choir. Do you think were they together? Because sometimes when they spread a choir too wide, it's not so easy for the ensemble to congeal. But it sounds like it was about a top-notch performance.
It worked pretty well. But there wasn't a sense of there being holes in the sound stage.
That's great.
And what it was terrific for when they were doing counterpoint.
Yes, it would have been. You would really be able to delineate. Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I did regret was that he. My favourite aria, as you might remember, is "I Know That My Redeemer Liveth."
Yes.
And one of the things I love about it is the lovely strings obligato that goes with the singing.
Yes.
And it's very poignant and
yes, it is
beautiful. And he chose to have it played by the clarinet.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh.
And it lacked the poignancy and the warmth.
Yes, I know what you mean. That's unusual. Was he playing a particular arrangement, or was it his own, or what was the background there?
I'm not sure. I think it was his own.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was his own. When it came round again, you get it more than once, and the strings played it the second time, or violins.
Okay. Sure.
And it sounded great, but it was just a bit of a shock to the system. I was sort of just waiting for it, and then to hear the clarinet playing it, it was a bit off-putting.
Yeah, it's unusual. I wonder if that. What Mozart's version of it, what they do, because Mozart arranged it.
Strings.
It's all strings. Okay.
The one standout difference to me about the Mozart version is he didn't have any trumpets.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's particularly awkward when you've got an aria that says the trumpet shall sound.
There's no trumpet.
They don't.
He's strange. Maybe in Mozart's court orchestra there wasn't a trumpet that year or something.
No, I think he used horns, which are also very good.
Yeah.
But they don't quite go with the lyrics.
No, not entirely. No, that's right. It's a bit interesting. But
look, other than that,
and not too many sheep barring.
I heard one stray sheep, just one little burst.
Okay.
It was unobtrusive, really.
Yeah. Was it an audience sheep, or was it done on stage?
On stage.
On stage. Okay.
Actually, I'm not sure. It sounded very muffled and in the back of the stage.
Right. Fair enough.
But it was subtle. It didn't destroy things like it did the other time.
Yes. It sounded like it could sort of
kept doing it, for a minute.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. That would really disturb it.
A very unsubtle joke at the wrong time.
I think so. I don't think you can do that sort of thing. Make animal noises in the middle of the Messiah. It's a bit too Spike. Exactly. It's a bit too Spike Jones.
Spike Jones Messiah.
That's right. He's taken the Messiah. God knows what he would do with it. Yeah.
The mind reels.
It does. Oh gosh! And that's good.
Very good.
The way they staged the choir, was that different to other years? Do they use?
So yes, yeah. I think it it's more centralised usually.
Okay, right. Excellent.
So I like that. That worked really well.
Sure, yeah. And so, do they use a full-size orchestra, or what's this? What are the forces?
It was a very big orchestra, yes.
Was it?
Certainly,
okay.
full forces.
Nice. Oh, that'd be great. So you'd need a big choir to match, of course.
Yeah. Well, they had that as well.
Yes.
And the choir was, as always, was great.
Excellent. Oh, that's really good. Marvelous. Well, I'm glad it went well. I was thinking of you last week. I was wondering how it was going.
He left out an aria that I like, which was "Death, Where Is Thy Sting."
Oh yes.
I think that's kind of optional.
Yes, it is. There are a number of optional arias in the Messiah, because I think you rarely hear the entire thing. I think there's about 6 or 7 arias which are sort of, I know looking at the score, having played it, they're in brackets with the word optional.
Yeah.
And so I think people choose to work around things a bit, especially if it's taxing for the soloists.
Oh, the other thing I loved, he had his tempo were nice and slow.
Good. Nice to hear.
Some people didn't like it. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you've got to have... Baroque music needs to breathe. You can't... When it's played too fast, it has a certain excitement, visceral quality when it's played fast. But
it loses its dignity.
I think it does. That's my feeling. I really agree with you on that. I think that, so often you hear Bach played so quickly.
I know, it's terrible.
You just don't hear what's going on. All of that interplay is lost.
It's almost like a caricature, isn't
yes, it is. It is. And it's just becomes a solo line and starts to sound a bit affected. But, but I'm pleased to hear that he used stately tempos. That's great.
It was, on balance, it was really great.
Tremendous. Oh, well done. That's good.
And the solo, I didn't like the mezzo. Mm-hmm. She was, unfortunately, a bit weak.
Yeah.
But the soprano the other soprano was great,
yes.
And the tenor was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
A guy called Andrew Goodwin.
Okay.
And
great.
The bassist was very good too. I can't remember his name, but he was very good.
Yes. Oh, that's great. I'm pleased to hear the soloist mostly stood out. That's excellent. All right. Well, thanks for the update there, and we'll see if we can dial up I Know My Redeemer Liveth for the end. It'd be nice to play that as a ride out. Just play a few more records. I've got one on the table just because I pulled a handful of records off the shelf and I don't want to put them back without playing them.
Oh, no.
And this happens to be a recording of Bohuslav Huberman, another great violinist from that first 50 years of the century period, the first half of the century. And yes, Huberman actually did play to Brahms, and I think I've told the story how he moved Brahms to tears as a 12-year-old playing the Brahms concerto.
Yes.
And so Brahms knew his playing well and liked it. So he went on to make quite a few records up until the 1930s. I think he died in 1943. But including this recording of the music of Brahms, it's a waltz in A major, Opus 39. It's an arrangement for violin and piano, but I thought it'd be nice to have a listen to some Huberman. So I think we're in gear, and we can follow on. What an interesting rendition of that piece. It's unlike any version of it I've heard before. It's usually played with lots of surges and sort of forward motion, but this was a very dignified, quite a still performance. It just sort of held a very steady tempo throughout, I thought. Lots of gentle subtlety. Yeah, so Huberman there.
One of the earliest pieces I can remember.
Right.
They had it in the sort of kindergarten thing that I went to at the Blind Institute.
Yes, yes.
I started when I was 3.
Oh, right.
And what I remember, and the recordings must have been just ones that the nurses brought in.
Yes.
And there was Humoresque.
Yes.
There was that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was Peter and the Wolf.
Oh, my goodness me. Oh, wow. Well, that's really special. Well, I wonder what the recording was that you heard. I wonder who was playing.
I can't remember.
No.
I wouldn't know.
Wouldn't expect you to. But, yeah, it was fascinating. I'd like to profile different interpretations of that piece someday, because it's often played with wildly different vision.
Oh, yeah, it's sort of become so much into the popular vernacular.
Yes.
People do all sorts of dreadful things.
They do, yeah. I just really like the sort of simplicity in that approach. I thought that was really quite, yeah. It
was lovely. It was I think, just played as it was meant to be played.
Yes.
Well, obviously it was, because the drums was, so keen. Oh.
That's right. Indeed. Well, another one out of this same batch happens to be a recording of vk3sl playing the Adagio from the first partita, the partita in G minor by Bach. So Kreisler playing Bach is something very special. There's not many recordings of him playing Bach, but I think this one is something to behold.
Great.
Fritz Kreisler back in 1926, and his take on the Adagio from Bach's first partita in G minor. Yeah, fascinating. What intrigues me about that playing is how he maintains the sense of line and doesn't let the chords upset that linear character of the music.
You can hear the line right through.
Right through the chord. Now, so often you hear this music, and one thing I sort of struggle with is the fact that people sort of stop on the chords.
Yeah, but it's as though it's not chords, it's just two strands.
Yes, exactly. It's just like statement, 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 and nothing sort of brings it together, homogenizes. But he just so beautifully it transcends that, and the chords just become like a supporting line really in itself. It just gives it harmonic congruity and allows the tune to flow.
I'm absolutely certain that's how it was meant to be.
I think so too, and he does that so successfully there. I just think it's magnificent, and you really get a sense that the upbeats are a part of the line as well. It's something so remarkable about that performance. Oh, I could listen to it 100 times and still get something out of it. Another one from the batch is more Bach, and I'll make this my penultimate, I think, because we've got an early start tomorrow, and I'm sort of living on manic energy, really. So.
Yeah, you must be. Anyway, at least the upcoming days perhaps are a bit going to be...
Oh, yes, it'll be fine. No, it's all good. Now, I found here a recording of Harriet Cohen playing on the piano 2 preludes and fugues. Now, we've got number 1 in C major or number 2 in C minor. Which one would you like to?
I think the C minor.
Yes, I was going to choose that. I was hoping you'd choose that one.
Yeah. So I used to play the C major.
Yeah, I think everyone sort of knows it's there.
Yeah.
But C minor is wonderful. And so we'll hear Harriet Cohen, a beautiful British pianist, and we've featured her before. And she was a woman who just exuded personality and sensuality, and she just had this larger-than-life personality.
Oh, yes, it's coming back to me now.
Yes, anyone who met her, I think, was drawn into her intimate circles. Because she just sort of had a particular type of magnetism. But I'll put this on. We'll have a listen to Prelude and Fugue number 2 in C minor by J.S. Bach. A recording again from the 20s, I think. It's quite early. And Harriet Cohen on the piano.
lovely tears to Piccadilly.
Oh, isn't it just? It's pure poetry. What a rendition. With word vision. Oh, I love the way these players played. They just had such an individual take on things. And
did she record the whole lot?
I don't think she did. I think there's just a selection. I don't think it all happened.
What a shame.
Yeah. She's amazing. Just amazing. Oh, wow. This gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've got to that point where I think we'll need to wind up. And I was pleased to, in the cavalcade of emails that I received upon coming back into civilization, there's about 50 emails. And amongst them was a note from Mr. Fleming, who's very regular listener. And
good evening, John.
And always delighted with John's contributions and thoughts and ideas and shared perspectives on all manner of things because, whenever I have a technical problem or something, I often shoot John an email with computers and such, and he's always got some really good ideas and great musical selections. And
certainly does.
Yeah, he came up with the idea of hearing some Kathleen Battle and Wynton Marsalis play together.
I've got a CD, and I've probably got the one he's thinking
Yes. And
great.
Well, look, that's it. And we've had some great programs. In fact, I think we've featured just about all the recordings on the CD, and also there's a number of live performances.
The first track is "Let the Bright Seraphim" by Handel.
It's beautiful. I know, and I could just keep coming back to it. I don't mind how many times we played these. It's music that. It's exultant. And speaking of exultant, we're going to hear Jolshut Gott in Alan Landon. That's from BWV. It's one of the church cantatas, but 51, I think it is, which is what exalt in God in every land or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great.
So we'll hear this and we'll play this, and then after that I'll quickly touch base before we finish because I've got something very special to wind up with after this. So here we go for you, John, and I'm sure everyone will find a very personal connection with just such exceptional music making. Well, there's nothing, no words to describe such a remarkable, delightful performance.
Hard to see how you could do it better than that.
It really is. It's just so exuberant, so exultant. And we heard
it's everything it should be, isn't
it?
it?
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, and that's actually from a TV special, a live performance.
Oh wow!
Which is pretty special, really. I mean, that's a risky piece to play live.
I think there was a bit of magic between the two of them.
I think there is. I could sense the chemistry for sure.
Chemistry's the word.
Yeah, it's good. All right, Frank. Well, look, we'll wind up for the moment, and we'll finish with one of my very favourite recordings of "I Know That My Redeemer Liveth."
Yeah.
And we can play this again. Perhaps you could share your favourite one another next week, even, and leading up to Christmas. And
okay. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, have a bit of a ponder. But this is one recording I just absolutely keep coming back to. I know we've played it before, but I just think there's something about the simplicity in this performance and her diction. She sings like an angel. It's Isabel Bailey.
Oh yes.
And
she's beautiful.
It's a beautiful voice. Absolutely amazing. And this is a recording made back in 1941. So big forces, lots of luscious strings. And it's not the best recording quals, but look, the voice is a magical one. And I think this will be a fitting end for our program today. And we'll be back again tomorrow afternoon. I think we're all on board for that. And we'll wish the listener a very good evening. And thanks, Frank.
Thank you, as always. It's always good fun. Great fun.
It is. And we'll look forward to next time. So thanks again. Have a lovely day tomorrow, and we'll catch up later. And best wishes to all listeners.
Indeed, best to the listeners. Thank you for listening. Thanks for listening.
Indeed.
As Jack Davey used to say.
That's what he used to say. That's right.
This is vk3sl
and vk3sl saying cheerio.
Cheerio.